Hey, Danny.
Thank you so much for coming to the factory and talking with me. I am so excited about our interview.
Thank you so much for having me.
Okay, so we're going to get right into it because we both have some things that we have to get to in a little bit. So let's just get into it, all right? First things first, I want to just be very transparent, okay?
Okay.
You and I, we went to high school together. Go
Mhm.
Gators, okay?
Yes.
But we were not friends. We didn't have any problems with each other. I knew who you were. Um, we shared some friends, but you and I were not friends.
Right.
Like I said, there wasn't any problems, but you and I wasn't friends. And then
Right.
later in life, we both graduate. We go to college, graduate from college, and then you get accepted. Take it off.
Right. All right. So you love telling this story. So I like for you to tell it better, but I'll tell it. So I like to preface it by saying this is 21-year-old Brittany at the time. So I get accepted into law school. I think it's maybe 2 or 3 weeks before I go to law school. I get this random phone call from Miss Danielle because I do not have her number because we are not friends. And she calls me and says that even though she really doesn't care for me, that's how she started. She was so proud of me for getting accepted into law school because that is something that I always talked about. And she wanted to commend me for getting accepted. So, like I said, 21-year-old Brittany was like, what in the heck? Like, is this call about? But later, I mean, like as I started getting older and realized, I'm like, you know what, that was like so big of her. And I always tell you, I commend you for that and respect you for being able to say, like, I may not really like you or I kind of feel a way about you, but I'm so proud of you for your accomplishments. So then the rest is history, right?
Right. But here's the thing: from that conversation, I started to like you. I did. I started to like you from the conversation. And here's the thing, and I remember your response was, well, I don't know how you could like how you could be happy with somebody that you don't like.
I tell you, that was 21-year-old Brittany. She
Yeah,
was sassy.
and I was like, because I'm doing it. That's why. But as our conversation continued that day, you were like, well, I'm proud of you too. And my mom's a principal. And that's how I met your mom. And your
Right,
mom,
right,
offered me a job at Clifton. It's like everything came from that moment, from my honesty and from you being transparent with me.
right,
I feel like it just speaks to how women say, oh, sis, I'm proud of you. Or,
right,
I may not be your friend, but I'm rooting for you from afar. And I
right,
think
right.
that that's a very good example of two women who may not be in the same room with each other, but still
Mhm.
supporting. And I think that that's something that I'm very proud of, to say that I
I
was a part of
appreciate.
that and that we built a
Yes.
relationship from it.
Right, right.
So let's get into this. Before we get into details, I want you to tell me, who is Brittany Chavis?
Hmm. I wasn't ready for that question.
It's very
Brittany
loaded.
Chavis. Okay, well, I am a wife, a mother, a attorney, and owner of my own law firm, Chavis Law. Recently opened my own law firm in October of 2020. So I'm pretty thankful for that. I am a Lupus Warrior, which we'll get into. One of my shirts that I have on right now is Thankful for Life, which is contributing to my awareness for lupus. I'm a huge lupus advocate. Ever since I was diagnosed with lupus in 2014, I had no idea what lupus was, never heard of it before until I started having symptoms and going through the things that I was going through and not really realizing that it affects so many people, especially it affects so many African American women. And yet I never heard of it. So after I went through my spell of trying to get wrap around my head that my life was going to change dramatically from this, I started getting involved in advocating for awareness. So that's major for me. And from that, I am also an author of my book It Is Well, which is kind of my story, a part of my story with lupus, of just the spiritual warfare that I had to go through when I went through physical ailments and getting pregnant. Um, I am a friend, I am a sister. I have a heart for children. My mother, like you said, is an educator. My father is a pastor. And so, in my career and then also just in my life, I've just always strived to impact children and specifically young girls.
Did you ever feel any pressure as a child with your mother being the amazing Pam Bell and your father being a preacher? Did you ever feel pressure to be like a PK?
You know what? I can tell you that, like, speaking to my parents, I feel like I never felt the pressure from them just because, like, I get stopped so many times in the store or somewhere I'm at. Like, your mama taught me. Miss Bell's my teacher. She taught everybody in third grade.
Wait, I
But
hate to interrupt you. I
yeah.
got last night, I think I posted the picture of me reading your book,
Mhm.
and I got a message asking me, was your mom a teacher? And I was like, yeah, it's like, her mom taught me. Okay.
Teach everybody.
Yeah. Okay.
So I think that I didn't feel pressure from that. I think that it was a driving force for me. My parents will tell anybody that I've always been like self-motivated and self-driven for things. So it never pressured me as it relates to my mother being an educator. Now with my dad didn't become a pastor until I was about 13 or 14. So most definitely pressure with that because I feel like, some people, and I'm putting on the PK hat for a second, some people are born, like my sisters were basically born as pastors' kids, whereas like I like woke up one day and my dad's like, hey, I'm about to be a minister and all of these things. So it was definitely a different feeling for that. And once people know that your dad is a pastor, they start watching you with different lenses and trying to be hold you accountable for things that other people are doing. And so definitely thank goodness I was like a scary child, and so I really didn't get in a lot of trouble. But I know a couple times where I was like at a place where I wasn't supposed to be and somebody else was there too, and they called, was like, Pastor Keith Child was there too. So I think that that kind of comes with the territory. So yeah.
Okay. So let's talk about what motivated you to write your book. Like, how did you know I'm gonna wake up and write a book tomorrow? How
Well,
did that come
definitely didn't
about?
know that. So let me just kind of start by saying, like, I am so big on journaling. I literally have like probably 20 journals just all around the house that I just doodle and do things. And so the book was actually written without the intent for it to be a book. For the most, probably at least 6 months of my pregnancy, I was in the hospital bed. And a lot of people don't know that
Wow.
because I didn't really share with people what I was going through because I'm very private. And especially while I'm in the storm, I don't really discuss that.
Right,
So
right.
me journaling and writing was my outlet to be able to kind of figure out how I was feeling and how it would, I had so much downtime. I mean, like, I don't know if anybody's been in a hospital for more than 2 days, but you're in a hospital bed for 2 weeks. You really don't have anything to do. So, the majority of the book was written from the hospital bed. Then I was bedridden. And so once I really started reading it, I'm like, man, this is kind of good. Like, this is deep that I was like really like articulating what I was going through in the way that I
Right.
was doing it. I actually had like one of my friends from law school contacts me and say like, listen, the Lord told me to tell you that what you're going through is going to bless somebody else. So start memorializing it like in a book form. And I hadn't talked to her about the fact that I was like actually jotting things down and things. And then so I really kind of was like, okay, whatever. Nobody wants to read my thoughts. These are my thoughts. And then my sister-in-law said the same thing. So I was like,
Wow.
okay, confirmation. Now let me try to start getting these things together. So it wasn't until, like I said, I think after I had Brian Jr. that I really said, okay, let me start trying to put these things together because it really was like thoughts in my phone and notes and different journals. And I mean, even like now, like I go back to certain chapters in a book to remind me of the strength I had, and the way like I get back to things. So that's kind of how the book came about.
Okay. I want to speak on journaling because
Okay.
I tell so many people about journaling, and I'm
Yeah,
telling you, they don't realize the power of it. Like,
most
I
definitely.
will literally start writing in my journal, and time will go. And I'll
Yeah,
look up and I'm like, man, it was an hour.
right.
You just go, and it's so helpful, and it allows you to really process your thoughts. And when you go back
Right.
and read it, it's like, whew, I needed to
me.
get that out. Right. So I'm
Right,
happy
right,
that
right.
I mean, I know I'm not the only person that journals, but it's like I try to tell so many other people about doing it. And they're like, I don't have time for that. When you realize how powerful it is, you might want to give
Almost
it a try.
definitely. It's such a big release. And so I can tell you, like, I really, back to when I got diagnosed in 2014. I literally, if I don't know if you can remember this, but right, we got married in Destin.
Mhm.
And as soon as I got back from Destin, I started having like heat rashes all over my arms, my legs. I started like scabbing in my head. And so I go to the doctor and they're like, it's probably just because it was just super hot and because you went to Destin and came home. And I had just started like my dream job as a prosecutor. So I really did not have time to start getting sick and all of these things. Well, I eventually started losing my hair. And so from there,
You
I had
know
to
us,
go to
we
the
love our hair.
man. And I mean, at this point, I remember it was just falling out in the bathroom one day before work. And I go to the dermatologist, and that kind of like really jump started them telling me I had some type of autoimmune disease. So, for anybody out there that is listening, lupus is an autoimmune disease where your immune system basically attacks itself. So, how somebody else has a flu and it could just affect you for 2 to 3 days because you have no defense mechanism in your body, it could be fatal. Because, like I said, your body is essentially attacking itself, and there is nothing really defending you from any type of other diseases that come on. So that's why a lot of people have so many difficulties with the side effects from lupus because of lupus
They can't
itself.
fight it right.
And so I felt like my symptoms started escalating, into where I just started having I was passing out. I eventually lost probably almost all my hair, which most people don't know that they haven't read the book that I've lost my hair now twice. And so I was so angry, I was so angry. I knew that no one could understand how I felt. I couldn't talk to my husband about it. I couldn't really talk to my parents because I didn't really even understand like how I felt. I always tell everybody, like, when I'm having what's called a lupus flare, I literally feel like I'm falling off of a cliff, and it's just a never ending cliff, and I never get to the bottom of the cliff. That's how my
I read
body
that in the book.
feels.
Yeah.
And it was hard to like wrap my mind around like how one day I can just be like in court and doing my thing, and then like I can't get out of bed. So I was angry for probably a year, probably a full year. I just didn't want to talk to anybody. I didn't want to do anything. And so, like, at some point, I finally was like, you know what? Let's just start journaling this out. And I would write every single day. I started writing down when I felt bad, what I ate, what I did to kind of make me feel bad. And that helped me like figure out how to manage lupus, how to manage my feelings. And it also showed me like, Brittany, when you was like really pissed off today, that's probably why you was in the bed. And that's kind of like what made me like really have a aha moment, or even like a full circle moment, to say like your emotions are tied to your immune system. Most people don't really know that. Like, they don't
Mhm.
really think that, like, for you, like, okay, if you get upset with something, you can start sweating, you can start just, like wigging out for it. So for me, I would get upset with somebody, something would happen with me, and I would be passing out or can't get out the bed. So that's when I like really make the decision, like, Brittany, this is enough. Like, the anger has to go, resentment has to go, grudges have to go, because it like literally affects your physical body. And I would have never gotten to that point if I hadn't journaled it, because I
Mhm.
actually was able to like document how I felt and how
Process.
it made me
Right.
feel based upon what I was doing day to day.
Let's go back to the word angry.
Mm-hmm.
I put it in a box when I wrote it down.
Okay.
I remember, I want you to talk to me about who you became in the midst of your anger, because I know when you and I just randomly had conversations in the office one day about how when you were angry, how sometimes you weren't always a good friend,
Mm-hmm.
or you wasn't always, maybe in the best place to be who your friends may have needed you to be. And you may have
Mm-hmm.
done things that you would not have usually done, but you were just in the midst of your situation. Talk to
Mm-hmm.
me about how did you come out of that?
Um, I think, like I said, for the most part, is coming out of it was just being able to like be accountable, to say that I knew that the anger was taking on a whole different person than me. I was like not able to be there for anybody. And I'm one of those people that I'm like always there for everybody, trying to make sure everybody is good. I'm the oldest child. So you already have that kind of like oldest child syndrome to kind of be, that person for people. And it just kind of just hurt so bad that it's like, how could God give me so much like at one time as far as good? Like here I am, I'm newly married. I got this new job, and then bam, now I'm sick, and that like starts affecting everything. And then you mentioned it, like a woman loves her hair, like this is her crown and glory. And I mean, like I had to start wearing wigs, and I have never been that person to like wear, nothing's wrong with it, but I've just never been that person to have to do that. I've always had thicker hair, and to like do that, and everybody else is still having life. Like I feel like my life stopped and
Right.
everybody else's life just kept going, and nobody could understand. Like Brittany seems like she's fine. She looks okay. She's still kind of functioning. And so I kind of shut down. And once I realized that, I just completely like tuned out everything. I didn't like who that was. So I really started taking some time. And that's why I said that's what journaling like really helped me get through, figuring out how to get out of that dark place and figuring out that it affected everything that I did. I mean, literally, if I, and I'll just take it back to you and I don't feel like we ever had like a grudge situation going on. I can't speak
Never.
for you, but I've never had a grudge
Never.
situation. But I felt like if there were times, and girls are catty. I can admit to anybody, I was very catty in high school. I hate that about myself, but I was catty in high school. And so,
Maybe that's why I
once
didn't like you. I still don't know
it
why.
might
I
have
don't
been girl or other things, but we ain't gonna get into that. But I can admit that, and
know.
say that, I would see somebody in the store like, I don't like her. Brittany, well, why don't you like her? I don't remember because I didn't like her. So those little things like having my diagnosis like really helped me like sort through getting
Right.
rid of petty things and
Just
getting rid
unnecessary
of,
things to hold on to.
yes. Like I can tell you now, someone comes to me and says something and I'm like, okay, I'm good with it. Like if I talk about it, I release it and I move forward because my life is so important. That's one of the main reasons why Thankful for Life was my theme for Lupus Awareness Month, because I'm so thankful for
Yeah, I
being able
love
to
your
wake up
shirt.
and breathe. Thank you. Thank you. This was by the Faith Collection. They
Yes.
are available. um, and so I think, like I said, I would have never gotten to that point, I really think, Danielle, if it wasn't for my diagnosis, honestly. And so a lot of people look at having an illness or a disease as a weakness, whereas I look at it as a strength because it really made me evolve as a person. It made me evolve as a friend. It made me even evolve in my profession because a lot of times, people get so nervous and saying, ooh, I have this or I have that. They don't want their employer to know, I may have this ailment that may affect me. I'm very transparent. When I walk into something in a new job or a new situation, I'm going to make sure that you are aware that I have some things that may limit me at times. But that doesn't stop me or that doesn't make me weak. And so I wish, and that's one of the whole main reasons why I try to advocate for awareness. And sometimes I try to be more transparent about when I have a weak moment because I need people to understand that you having a moment doesn't make you weak. It
Yeah.
makes you a person. It makes you
Human.
actually genuine to say, like, you know what? 2 weeks ago, I had to go in the hospital a couple times. That doesn't say like, oh my gosh, Brittany's trying to get sympathy. That says that Brittany was going through some things. She had to step back for a moment to get herself together physically, and now she's back. So I
And so
never would
many
have gotten
people
to that point.
don't understand that, Brittany.
Yeah,
And I commend you for that because
thank you.
so many people, automatically feels like, oh, she's trying to get attention, or it's
Hmm.
not, and not just you in general, just
Right,
even
right,
like just people with certain things that they share, and you don't know that's how you feel, but this comes out and it helps so many other people.
right.
So it's very important for people to realize the importance of not always being so judgmental or so quick to label something that's not even there.
Most definitely. Most definitely. And like I said, especially with an illness, I started doing Lupus Awareness Month, which is in May. Um, started kind of advocating for it probably like in 2015, and that was kind of like for me like my like coming out moment. Like, yes, I have lupus, you know, yes, I'm going through some things, but it needs to be talked about because it affects so many people. I literally didn't know anybody else who had lupus. And so it started by just like my family and friends. We would, you know, post like facts on
Yeah, that was
social
like year
media and
one.
things
I
like
remember,
that.
yeah, year one.
Yeah, I started with like, you know, purple is the color for lupus. And so we started by doing there's like themes for the lupus, the National Lupus Foundation, which is generally like put on purple. So we did different shirts, and every year I try to increase on how to make it you know, at least locally more available to people. And so like I said, it's getting bigger and bigger.
So what are
Last
you
year
doing this
was,
year?
what am I doing this year?
Yeah, what are you gonna do this year
So
for it?
this year, like I said, the theme is thankful for life. And so I'm kind of, you know, thank goodness we're starting to like come out of COVID. So now we can, you
Right.
know, kind of get outside some, you know. Um, so what I'm doing is May the 15th is going to be a Thankful for Life balloon release. And I'm going to get some more details about that coming soon on social media. But we're going to have a balloon release at the Civic Center at 6 p.m. I'm asking for every Lupus Warrior that's just not in Lake Charles, but even, you know, around the surrounding areas to come out. I think it's important for us to be able to get together and to be able to say, like, here we are, we're still here. There are people that have lost their lives to lupus. So I do think that that's something that's really important. Also, after that, we have a Thankful for Life, the bike ride that I partnered
Yeah.
with the Lake Charles City Cruisers. Unfortunately, as of last night, it's sold out.
I saw that. Congratulations. I
Thank
saw
you. But
that.
people still have the opportunity to bring their own bike. They just have to go through Lake Charles City Cruises on how to reserve being able to ride with us for permitting purposes. And then one thing that I'm really excited about, my best friend, I don't take any credit for this, came up with this where we're going to paint the city purple, which the challenge is to get purple light bulbs. They're everywhere on Amazon.
That was
And
Mandy, right? Did I read
yes.
that, Amanda? Yeah.
Yeah, she did. That was such a good idea, Mandy.
I read that.
And so paint the city purple, where, you know, kind of there was that time where everybody was like supporting the police and they had blue lights. So we want to see that same energy for lupus with purple lights all around the city. So that's another thing that we're doing all month long. We're also going to be doing a purple table talk with Miss Danny and the Communication Factory May
Yay.
the 8th, with a couple other of my Lupus Warriors will be with us. So we are definitely welcoming questions before the panel so that we can try to answer and kind of dispel some myths with lupus, because there are a lot of myths and things associated with that. And like I said, just social media is just spreading awareness. I've been really trying to get other lupus warriors to share their story. If you kind of follow me on social media, you'll see like last year we did several videos with some lupus warriors. We also did like some flyers with their story and things like that. So it's exciting to see more and more lupus warriors coming out with their story and speaking on it, because I mean, it's important. Like, this is not something to be
Taken lightly.
shy
It's really
about,
not.
nervous. Like, tell your truth, honey, because this is real.
Yes, it
Mhm.
really is. So now I want to talk about VJ. Can we talk about VJ?
Okay, girl.
How has motherhood changed you, Brittany?
Woo. Okay, well, let me just say
I
that
seen the other day, girl. He took over on you. I saw that on
it's every
social
day of my
media.
life. Like, one thing I can say, it's so funny because everybody says that he like looks just like Brian, which I still refute. I mean, they look
No,
alike.
that
They
baby
don't
look
look like
like you and your
twins or
mama.
nothing. But he acts just like me. He is literally the boy version of me. He is dramatic like me. He is inquisitive like me. He is demanding like me. So, you know, my parents always say, like, don't get upset because this is kind of same stuff you would do with us.
Oh Lord.
So that's a challenge. And once, you know, I know, like you said, that you're kind of getting to the end of the book, which I want to hear what you say once you finish. I never
Gotcha.
wanted a boy. Never. Okay.
Let me tell you
Uh,
something, Brittany.
I, hmm?
Be thankful.
I know. That's what I'm thankful now. But I am such a girly girl. And so I was like, yes, I can have a mini me. We're gonna have matching outfits and we're gonna do all these things like that. So Brian and my parents will tell anybody that the day that I found out that I was having a boy, I literally fell out in the room. I just could not believe it. They have the video. They're gonna just have to show it to them because it was a traumatic moment for me. I was like, what am I
Yes.
going to do with this boy? But I mean, man, he's rough. Okay. Like I said, he's all boy. But it has like really just shown me one, I can really say that like while I was sick in my pregnancy, there were so many times where if I wasn't pregnant, I probably would have just wanted to give up because it was just that rough. He
Wow.
made me fight, and being able and having to fight for somebody else just made my entire idea of life change. So now, I can just tell you like it's just been so crazy. I've been just having like all these job offers just come left and right. And I'm really blessed and fortunate about that. And the old Brittany before BJ would have accepted every single job. Probably not been able to do it physically, but because I don't know how to stop. I get that from my parents. But I now take a step back and figure out and think about how that's going to affect my child. Do I want to push myself so much to where now I'm away from my child because I'm in the hospital? Do I want to push myself so much to where I'm not even here and able to be his mother?
Wow.
So that part is, a lot of people say like, your life changes, you really, gravitate everything around your child, but it's a different meaning when you have an ailment or an illness, because I was literally writing in my journal the other day because I wasn't feeling well. And BJ jumps in the bed with me, and I'm like, I just don't have the energy to do anything. And it just made me think that I'm always his mother. It doesn't matter if I'm having a bad day, if I'm having
Yes.
a sick day, I'm still his mother. And so I always put that first, and I
And let me tell you something, I can contest to that because I have called you or text and I'm gonna call you back. I gotta put BJ, or I'm reading BJ a book, or I'm like, okay, I got two questions, sis.
yes,
No, this, and you're like, this is
listen.
BJ's time, and I love that. I
Public
love
service
that about
announcement
you.
to everybody. Once I get home, because I get to my office probably between 7 and 7:30. I don't leave a lot of times until 6:30. Once I get home, everything is cut off. My phone is away because that is definitely BJ's time. So if it's not my mama calling, and sometimes when it is, child, you're not gonna hear from me because that's his time.
And I admire that about you. So, before we wrap up our interview, I have another question.
Sure.
Okay, and like I said, I know these people just because we all went to high school
Mm-hmm.
together. Of every class has cliques.
Yeah.
I had a clique. Everybody has a little cliques,
Mm-hmm.
and you and your crew are still good friends.
Yes, yes, yes.
I love it. You guys, the four of you, and I'm not sure if there's any other one woman. Hope I'm not leaving anyone out, but from my understanding, the four, you guys are all successful in your
Thank
own
you.
right.
Mm-hmm.
So my question is, how do you, or maybe y'all in general, how do you encourage each other as women to continue to strive to be the better or the best version of yourselves in your own right?
That's a
Like, do
good
you
question.
guys check each other and say, hey, look, you're wrong, you're right, girl, you winning, I love this? Like, how do y'all
Right.
communicate amongst yourselves to keep encouraging one another?
Right. I think, like I said, the good thing for us is that we're all like so different. I'm like the loud one
I
all the
think so.
time, and they'll say the attitudinal one. Okay, I always want to know who's gonna be there, why this person come. That's me. I'm very inquisitive. Whereas like Mandy and Mill are like the more like laid back and reserved. Brittany will go toe to toe. I call
All
her
day.
my rider because she ready to roll for anything.
All day.
So like I said, I think that we all have like different like goals. Now it is weird because Amelia is like now in law school, so I love that dynamic right now. But like we all understand like that we don't have to talk every day, except for Brittany. Now I'll just tell you, like you do have like one of them, like Mandy and Mill are not one of those people that you got to talk to every day. if I don't, me and Brittany have like allotted time every day, where we talk in the mornings after the kids are dropped off to school. That's our time. Like this morning, I called her phone went to voicemail. I'm like, is everything okay? Like, I can't start my day without that time. So I think that that's like a benefit, because we still, Mandy and I were like pregnant back to back from, with each other.
Yeah.
And we all have boys, ironically. So we were able to like encourage each other just in that moment to say, like, Mill was like, Brittany, I don't know what about to put yourself into, because it's gonna be rough with these boys. I'm like, no, it'll be fine. And then I'm like, oh my Jesus, these boys are terrible. So I think that like we know like where each one of us are, and we meet each other where we are, but we also are good enough and know each other enough, to where we give each other our space. And they can call me out for anything. Like if I've done something, they will tell me in a second. And that's all of us. If we don't like it, then it's fine. They'll tell us, if we slipping on something or whatever. But like the encouragement, I mean, they all would come in, like when I just opened the law firm, trying to figure out what I need help with and what to do. Same thing, with all of us. Like, I don't really do lashes, but baby, I had to sit on that table to let Brittany do my lashes because I support her.
Right. Exactly.
And so I can't wait to go, have a case against Amelia so that, I can tell up in court. I mean, it's going to be exciting.
I can't wait to hear about it. Hey, y'all got to promise to come back to the factory so we could talk about it after this happens.
That'll be good. That'll be good.
I got to get it.
So I think that that's important just for any friendship. And I think that that's how ours has been a lasting friendship. I mean, we're almost, we're 15, 16, 17 years in. And of course, like there are moments where you have spats and disagreements and things, but you just keep on rolling. So I think that that's important. Like, meet the person where they are. There's never been like any like jealousy or that I can even think of, because we always are just super supportive of each other, and that's just important to just be able to have a circle like that.
Right.
So I think that that's kind of how that keeps us like a driving force for sure.
Okay. So my last question is, what, for anyone who have not read the book, what is the one thing that you would want someone to know about who Brittany Chavis is?
From the book.
No, just in general, like, because for me, I'm only on chapter 4, getting close to chapter 5, but I also know you personally.
Right.
So I know what I know. But for people who may not know you personally and who haven't read the book, but they just know of Brittany Chavis, what would you, because it's a difference between knowing someone and knowing of them.
Most definitely.
What would you want someone to know about Brittany Chavis?
I think, and I'm going to still kind of channel it back to the book, because I do think it's important to note that the book is, like I said, because I hate for people to think that it's a lupus book, because it's definitely not a lupus book. I want people to make sure to understand that like anything in life is a battle, whether it be a physical battle, emotional battle. Anything that you go through still requires you to have some type of spiritual battle. And so I think that it was important to be able to share with people how I evolved in my spiritual battle.
And
I'm very open to say when I was angry, like when I was angry with God, I would say flat out, like I was really mad at him for having me go through this. And it took a process. I will tell anybody, like, I am not a religious person. I'm a spiritual person. I have a relationship with God, to where just like you have a relationship with a person, I get angry with him. There are times that I question him, because we have a relationship with each other. And so that's kind of the evolution in my book. And I think that in people just saying like they knew Brittany, like I went to high school with her, or I even went to college with her. Like, if you still putting Brittany in that time, then you have no idea who Brittany is. Because just the way that I process and I think about things are completely different because of the fact that I have that relationship. I mean, I equate everything to what it is like spiritually. Everything, because I think that anything that you go through in life is spiritual. And so in my book, my most important thing for me that I go through with anybody, like all my close friends will know, like I will always say, like, I'm not going back to Egypt. Okay. That's my favorite phrase. Okay. It means I'm not going backwards in anything that I've done. If I've already overcome something,
That's
I'm
it.
not going to go back and say, like, let me readdress this situation. I've already done it. I've already, did what I needed to do. And that's what I really got from the book for myself. Even like after we went through all these hurricanes and stuff, that what took a toll on everybody. I mean, we're still trying to get back the community and get back how we were. We were at our house for months. We didn't move home back until November. Some people are still not back in their homes. And so I went back and read my book to say, like, man, like I just need a reality check to say, like, this is how I process things. So that's kind of what I want people to take from me, that I am a spiritually minded person. Like I said, I am a fighter for sure.
For sure.
Um, I am private when I need to be private, but I like to be vocal because I feel like that really helps other people to be able to address and say, you know what, like maybe this does need to be shared. Maybe I do need to be able to have a voice and everything, in whatever you're going through. Because I have so many people that will inbox me or message me like, man, like I'm so thankful that you even told people that you have lupus or that you're going through this, because I never wanted to communicate that. And these are people that have been having it well past, when I had it. And I think that that's important, that you have to be able to be an outlet and a voice for other people. I'm a voice for every people all the time in court, but I also try to make sure that I'm a voice for people, to tell them that just because you were a certain way in the past doesn't mean that that's where you were.
Yes.
So don't box yourself in, because as people, we evolve. If I talk to you in 2 weeks, I may have evolved into something else. I may have had an epiphany of something else.
Right.
So just remember to keep evolving and make sure that no one else boxes you into what you used to be. That's kind of,
I love that, Brittany.
thank you. I was like,
Now,
that was deep. I need to write that down.
yeah, I'm about to say that. That was good. All right, last question.
Okay.
I love music. I
Mm-hmm.
love music. I
Mm-hmm.
need you to tell me what's your pick me up song.
Ooh, girl, I'm kind of ratchet at times.
Well, we
So
all right. Well, y'all got some ratchets in us. You
let
know.
me see my pick. It depends on like what I need to pick me up from. So, like in the morning, I can tell you, like after I drop that baby, okay, I probably need something like sometimes I need some Cardi B. When it's up, then it's up. That's a
Because it's
pick
up.
me up for me. But
Because
like
it's up.
really, I mean, I am all about like neo soul. That is, like my dad used to listen to Erica Badu and Lauryn Hill and Sade and things like that. So I still kind of have that vibe. So Jenny Aiko is my go-to girl. She picks
Yes.
me up for everything. I mean, it just doesn't matter. And John Legend for sure. And I gotta shout out Jarvis Jacob, because let me tell you, that boy can sing. And I downloaded all his songs. So if y'all don't have the Jarvis Jacob stuff, then
Yes.
y'all just missing out.
Y'all missing out. Missing out. My friends make fun of me all the time because they're like, "Man, you always listen to R&B." Like, I will get dressed to go to a party, and I
Yeah.
mean, I'll have Monica playing, and they were like,
Oh,
"Why is you
Monica
listening
make you
to
do a
that?"
lot of different stuff.
Like, I just like that kind of music. Of course, Lauryn Hill is always a go-to.
Yeah.
And I love Mary J. Blige too. So it's just stuff like
My
that.
auntie loves Mary J. I'm not a Mary J fan, but
Listen,
hey, I won't
I
knock
might
it.
not be a fan of her acting, but them songs, girl, I need them.
I
I need them in
just,
my life.
I mean, no more drama, I guess.
Okay. All right. So we have lupus all next month. We have something going on. It's going to be the
Yeah.
panel. We have the bike ride. We have the balloon release. We have the lights all month. That's going on. That's going to be going on. My question to you is, for the people who are coming out,
Mm-hmm.
is there a certain thing that you like what kind of energy should they be expecting? Like, talk to me about the overall thing for the 15th.
Ooh, okay. Well, the first thing, like I don't know if I said this, I'm gonna just say it again, that I am asking for everybody to at least wear purple in honor of the day. These shirts, like I said, are for sale, the Thankful for Life shirts, but you don't have to be, you're not required to wear this. I am just asking that you wear
Purple.
purple, because we're putting
Okay.
on purple. I think, like I said, this is a joyous occasion. This is not something that we're, trying to be sad and gloomy about the fact that, because we're thankful. Any day that I wake up that I'm breathing, I'm excited, I'm
Right.
blessed. And so we're gonna put some balloons in the air. My daddy gonna say some prayers. The mayor's gonna do some
Yes,
opening
Lord.
remarks for us. And then hopefully, we have enough energy to do that bike ride. Now let's ask them how long we're going, because I'm just not sure. But
Oh gosh.
yeah, like I said, I'm excited. I cannot wait to see the panel. I'm always love to
I'm
hear like what
excited
other
about that.
people go through. Like I said, we text a lot of times. Like if I'm kind of sick and I'm having a new symptom, I'll text, somebody who I know has been having it longer than me, or if I'm having like a side effect from my medication. So I'm really excited about the panel for sure. And excited about seeing, I need the city to be purple. Okay.
Yes.
Like really.
So where can we get these lights from?
You know what? Amazon has like almost every light. I have not checked at Lowe's. I have heard that there are some lights at Walmart, but I'm like an Amazon Prime girl. I probably get an
Me
Amazon
too.
package every single day. My lights came in 2 days. So there's like the candelabra lights, there's the regular porch lights. So Amazon is the place to go. I am asking that either you start right on May 1st with the lights, or the week of the balloon release. Lupus Awareness Day is actually May the 10th. I generally do things on Lupus Awareness Day, but because it's a Monday, we pushed it to that Saturday. So if you don't want to paint the city purple for the whole month, I am asking that people do May 10th to the May 16th.
Okay. And if someone wants to purchase your book,
Yes.
where do they get the book?
Website is itiswell-thebook.com. There are also journals on there. So I did actually do some It Is Well journals, because like I said, and you said and mentioned that it is important to journal.
It is.
And it's not just for you to journal for the book. A lot of people have told me that they've taken notes and things in the journal as they're reading, just of things for them to kind of go back to and relate. But it's just important for you to just journal about your life, even if it's like a log book for yourself. You need to just be able to just kind of vent sometimes. So, so that's available as well.
Okay. Well, I am so happy that you came to the factory and shared your story with me.
Thank you for
I'm so
having me.
proud of you, Brittany.
I appreciate
I am
it.
so proud of you, and I am looking forward to participating in everything for Lupus Month. And I'm excited because I've already pre-ordered my shirt. So, sis, I'll be ready to. And I'm
Yes,
gonna go ahead. I'm gonna order my lights, and we're gonna paint the city purple.
that's right.
Okay.
Well, thank you
Well,
so much, Communication Factor. I had a good time. I was nervous.
you what? I told you were gonna be fine. I told you were gonna be fine. I got
I
you.
talk for a living. I don't really like talking.
You did a great job. Thank you so
Thank
much
you,
for
dear.
coming. I appreciate you. Have a
All
good
right.
day, boo.
Bye.